Good evening. Welcome to the April 26, 2023, 6:15 p.m. open session meeting of the Ayer Affordable Housing Trust. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the open meeting law are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID 818-0509-7403. I've got that one memorized now. Or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Alicia Hersey at ahersey@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220 extension 142 prior to the meeting. Next is to approve the agenda. May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Cindy. A second, anybody?
Second.
Thank you, James. And we're going to have to go in whatchamacallit, Hollywood Squares. James, any discussion on the agenda?
No, I'm good.
Thank you. James, how do you vote? Aye, thank you. I think you said aye. Am I correct, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, Cindy.
Aye.
Pat? You're muted.
Unmute Pat.
Well,
Pat,
I think she's on the phone.
then we don't have a quorum.
I understand that. That's why I'm sitting here, Cindy.
Yeah.
Tell you what, no, I can't change it.
They might have logged in and
She was on the screen a moment ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cindy, are you there?
I am here. Pat is not.
Okay, you did check. Thank you. We'll give it a
Yeah.
minute.
Ron is here, but he's muted, and I don't know if that.
Actually, Pat
not
showed up
Ron.
under Ron's name.
Okay, that's why. Yeah, I did hit ask to unmute, but I haven't gotten a response yet. I'll ask again.
Well, I think we can be patient. We're a small town. Well, James, you most importantly, we had the quorum by 1, so you couldn't do other things on Monday night.
Good. It worked out great. Well, I was looking at the town report. Our police department and fire department, they cannot say they are on the page. We got 10 people, I think, in each department making over 100,000. Not that they don't deserve it. I don't mean to imply that at all, but they cannot say that being a child line. You know, we pay well in this town.
Well, you know, having seen what's going on in other towns, it takes a little bit of time and money to invest in a police officer or a fireman. And my example I know from living there is Belmont. We put them through the academy. They get trained up. They do a year or 2 in Belmont. Cambridge comes in and snaps them right up. So Belmont figured out, pay what Cambridge pays. Otherwise, it's a constant battle to bring in qualified people.
Especially so close together, you should understand that. You know, proximity for Belmont and Cambridge is not that far apart. It's not like comparing Ayer and Belmont. You know,
I agree with you, sir. I'm not just, but I have a feeling that has an impact on it too.
Sure, and they know that too. They all the policemen and fire, everyone know that. You know, they play one against the other. I'm not blaming them. Everybody want to make as much as they can.
Yep. Well, Pat, are you there, please? But yeah, West Main project's gonna go forward.
Can I do announcements?
I don't see why not. Why don't you?
So I'll start with one that's not on our agenda.
Mhm.
The pocket forest is being planted this Saturday. And anybody who wants to come out, it'll be Saturday. It's the schedule for it is on the conservation website.
Mhm.
So if you need any information, you can go there. But I promise to let people know. And just a reminder, I'm pretty sure everybody here knows about it, but just a reminder.
Yep. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be, unfortunately, I won't be able to make that this
I
Saturday.
won't either, so,
Yeah.
but I think they're gonna have a good showing.
Beth Sudemeyer sent out a really nice letter about it today. So,
Yeah, and they distributed it through the schools too, so
Mhm.
that's good. That's good.
I appreciate all of your patience. We got some good stuff tonight to take care of. So I am actually looking up.
Jeff,
Yes, Cindy?
Pat's Square is gone.
I'm
Yep.
sorry, Cindy?
Pat's
Disappeared.
Square is gone.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay,
That is no longer in the meeting.
Yeah. I'm wondering if I'm going to guess she was at the shop because it came up as Ron. And typically, doesn't she have to run home often to take care of stuff?
Well, she might have been having trouble with the computer or something.
Yeah. Well, Colleen should be with us in a few minutes. I would beg people's patience for a few more. And hopefully Sean will join us too.
I have a hard ending though, so.
What
I'm
time, Cindy?
letting you know right now, 7:15, I'm gone.
We'll make it. We'll make it. I promise you. I promise you.
Okay.
West Main Street question
Yeah.
for you, Jeff.
Go ahead.
The little grooves that they put out in the little pocket thing that they put out in the street on West Main, what is all that about? I've never seen that before.
So the way the curbing goes in and out.
Yeah, they got a couple places where they got the curb and shoot out in the street. They look like
Yep.
I don't know if they're gonna put plants there. What's that for?
It's on street park. Oh, so these are traffic calming measures. So I know about them because I've known about them for a while and I do a lot of advocacy around this. But in order to get the grant money, we have to build it to DOT standards. And they really want people to slow down in life.
Okay.
They really do. So they build it with on-street parking that are kind of in like little protected inlets, if you will. So where it comes back out to the road, that's actually going to be a crosswalk. So when you go to cross the street, you're not crossing the street from the curbside corner of the car, if you will. You're actually walking across in front of the car on a sidewalk, and then you can see, and they can see you, and you're crossing the street that way.
Oh, okay.
So it's done to make it safer for crossing the street.
Oh, that's
And, you know,
always
for the 800 yards or 900, whatever the amount of traffic that is there, it has the tendency to make people drive slower.
Oh, well, that's good.
Granite lasts longer in our environment, and that's why we use vertical granite curbing. There's going to be 2 coats of top coat there. So those granite curbs are going to shrink down a couple of inches, if you will, because it's going to pile up underneath it. I actually was over there with Superintendent Von Skalquick Tuesday. I was chatting to him about stuff. He had to go out in the field, and yeah, tractor trailer trucks can go by each other there. It's change. That's the hardest part, is change, James. You know?
No, I'm not against it. I'm just it just looks strange. That's all.
Yeah. And the other thing is the bike lanes are actually going to be shared lanes with the cars.
No, well, that's not a bad thing. I don't
No.
guess.
No,
I hope it's.
but
Alan said something else today to someone that I overheard him. And,
Please.
okay, so, and I guess there's some lines on there that are not actually the final lines. They're just
Mhm.
there to guide some things. So it's gonna change as it goes in. It's
Mhm.
not exactly how it's gonna be. So everybody's getting really up in arms about it, but it's gonna change. It's not gonna be exactly that way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I literally walked around it the other day with Dan, like I said. And so the technical name for that painted line on the side of the road is called a fog line.
Yes, that was the one that,
So what a fog line is done, the reason fog lines are there is to give you an indication that the road surface changes on the other side of it. Either there's a curbing there or it falls off the road or something like that. And the reason for the fog lines, especially around here, is we don't always have streetlights everywhere. And that fog line is designed to keep you on the road. Between the center line and the fog line, you kind of know where your lane
well, it's
is.
a fog line for construction, so it's
Yeah,
not a
exactly.
final fog
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, so it's gonna get, like I said, it's gonna get 2 top coats of paving. So that stuff will just disappear underneath, and then it will be marked. The parking stalls will be marked, from what I understand. The center lines will be marked in it. The crosswalks will be marked on it, and more than likely they'll paint sharrows on it. Those are the bicycle with the chevrons.
Mm-hmm.
That would suggest that it's for bike traffic.
Yep.
Pauline, I'd like to let you know, welcome to the meeting. We had a quorum for a minute, but a member had to leave. So we're waiting for another member to show up. We have a member arriving tardy this evening. So
I'm
we're
letting
filling
her
the
in
time
right now,
chatting about
Jeff.
other stuff. I'm sorry?
I'm letting her in right now.
Excellent. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, Jeff, for that update. If the quorum is restored, I only have a question under public comment, and it's a quick question, all right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Happy?
Pauline, what happened? You got a quick question for a change?
James, be nice.
Well, you know we always get along good. You know that.
Absolutely. I missed you last Monday night.
Yes, I had a foundation meeting up in New Hampshire, so
Gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah. Well,
Anyway.
you
Go ahead.
you toss 2 balls up. You try to figure which one you got to go here, you got to go there. So
No, you gotta do the heavier ball first. It makes the other one easier. Good to talk to you, James.
nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Oh, and Colleen, I feel like I hit the lottery. Let's give Colleen a moment to join us, and I will restart. Hey, Colleen,
Hello, sorry I'm late.
you've missed nothing. We had a snafu, so we now have a quorum, and I think, hey, Pat, are you out there? Pat's having difficulty with the her connection. So we were right at, I just read the governor's message, and I'd appreciate if I don't have to read it again. And we had just had a motion and a second to approve the agenda and no discussion. So we're just about to vote to approve the agenda, okay? So we'll start again with you, James. Cindy,
Aye.
Alicia, Colleen,
Aye.
and Pat. Ron? We're not hearing you, Pat. Anyway, chair votes aye, so say something, Ron or Pat, you there?
I can hear you now. I'm having a terrible time.
We can hear you now. Don't do anything more. Don't touch.
Okay,
So
we're
are you
good. I'm here.
okay? Would you want to vote on accepting the agenda?
I'll accept.
Okay, so I'm going
I
to say
trust
Pat's
you
aye.
all.
Fantastic. So the next thing on our agenda, and we do have a hard stop at 7:15. We're going to really try and make that. Next on our agenda is to approve the minutes from the March 29th, 2023 meeting.
I so move.
I second.
Moved by James, seconded by Pat. Any discussion? I just want to say thank you very much, Cindy, for the great minutes, to be honest with you. So hearing no more discussion, James, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Colleen,
Aye.
Cindy,
Aye.
Pat?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. It's unanimous. Next is the Air Commons update. Drum roll, please. If you haven't heard this news, it's good news. Alicia, go ahead.
Yes, I do. So we talked to Noah and they have closed on the property. They own the property at Fitchburg Road, which is very good news because they still have to work with DHCD. They have to apply with DHCD a second time. This is to get their funding and all that sort of thing. And that will be going in September, but they own the property. So I think we're a lot farther along to this happening. Yay.
Yes.
I tell you, I could see the smile on James and Colleen's faces come right up when you said it. But yeah, no. So it's such a positive step. It's such a positive step on that project. I'm pretty excited about it, to be honest with you. And Cindy's got a big smile. Cindy's got a big smile for it too, right? Excellent. Okay.
No, this is so good. We'll be talking to them about some more things, but we just got that far. So they're busy with some other stuff. In May, we'll be talking to them about some more stuff, but yes.
Fantastic. You want to take us through the rental assistance program update, Alicia, while you're there?
We have filled all the spots for this year. The highest income of any family, any unit is, so everybody was under 50% or under AMI.
Mhm.
The income ranges are between 10,000 a year and 44,000 a year. So that tells you what we're doing for this. The rentals ranged from $950 to $2,500. So
Is it 2,500 for a family or multiple people?
it's for a family of 5, no,
Yeah,
7.
Okay. Wow.
7. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and I heard from Charlie today, he finished all his inspections. We started all the rental assistance. Everybody's back on track and we do it. Everybody got started this month. And he said that all the units that he looked at were in good shape and all passed muster.
Good.
People who needed, lead certificates. We thought the family with young children, we thought they didn't have a lead certificate because the property had changed hands recently. And the person who bought it, English was not really strong, the landlord. But then, and so he had sent me the lead report and it said there was lead there. And I was really, really upset because this is a family that really needed the money. And I called over to the lead inspector who we've worked with on our housing rehab, and she's the major lead inspector in the area. She actually teaches, courses on it and everything like that. And she did a favor for me because she usually makes people pay for these. And she looked it up and she found certificates on all the units in the building. So
Fantastic.
that was really good. That was a save. And the owner was really happy because they were afraid they were going to have to de-lead and all that sort of thing. But it's every single time. I mean, this is making a big difference for a number of families. And I don't know, 44,000 for a family is not a lot of money. And that's the highest anybody has.
Well,
We have a number that are under the 30% AMI range.
Alicia, could you repeat what the rents were?
The rents were ranged between $950 and $2,500.
Thank you.
And the landlords have been all great, just like the tenants. The landlords we're working with, I mean, that's been a really remarkable thing of doing this program. The landlords who aren't going to do it, you get one or two that just drop away. But mostly they are very happy to comply and make their unit comply.
Yeah.
And so that was good. That's good news.
That's great news. Of the pool of landlords, do we have any? I'm assuming we have landlords that we worked with last year.
Yes. And we've got some landlords. I mean, we've got some landlords. So we got places like Zodiac and things like that because that has been sold and it's being brought up to market rate. And there was a lot of people that needed to, so surprisingly, I had a number of people take applications. Not all the applications came back in from there. But it's surprising how many people struggle to get their applications in, but I do make them get me not just taxes, but I make them get me 3 months bank statements and things.
But that's a typical request for this type of transaction.
Yes,
So
it is.
I don't
Yes,
think
it
it's not,
not
one of the
outrageous.
conversations, and I don't think it's a conversation for now, but as when you take those 7 or 8 minutes a month off, Alicia, when you got a free minute to think about stuff, is there a way that we can, take the paperwork piece and reduce the overhead, the time it takes to do that? That's all I'm asking.
I'll have to think.
And you don't want to put in place something that's going to create another barrier to a person who may or may not get in there. But I'm just curious about it. It's just one of those things. Yeah, Colleen, James, it's about half your hand and face. So I think James had his hand up first. I'm sorry. Go ahead, James.
I have a question for Alicia. This is not, I don't want to know who, but a person with $10,000 of income, I just like to know what kind of income is that and how are they surviving?
Well, it was, without giving too much information, it was a special situation. The person was in a training program, so their income had dropped right now, but it hadn't dropped from a lot. It had dropped from, survival income to not survival income, and had gotten a couple loans to get them through this 6 months of training because it's hopeful that this person is going to be able to move into a better position. But having this help the person and the family to get through the next year as they start working, they're just finishing up this training program and things like that. It's just one more resource for the family to be able to maybe come out stabilized and that sort of thing.
Thank you. I'm just curious of how, $10,000 income, where would that be coming from? But you said some kind of training. Hopefully it'll be great for the family. Well, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I did the math in my head at $900 a month. That's $10,800 a year, James. That's crazy math.
Yes. But
and I don't even know if that's the unit, but
in my housing rehab, you'd be surprised at how many people we have less than 20,000 a year. And some of them own houses and we put roofs on for them. It's amazing what people do. Now, they might, in different programs, I count food stamps and things like that. Sometimes I don't. So, but they use the pantries, as Cindy will tell you. They use all sorts of resources to get by, and they're usually always in debt.
Thank you. So we're full up for the year.
Yep.
If I remember the numbers last month, I think we had a total of 11 or 12 people actually fill out the applications. 11 or 12 groups.
Yeah, we had 11. We had one over income. One unit didn't qualify and kind of disappeared, almost homeless kind of situation. One withdraw because I don't think they had a legal lease, because when I started asking for specific things, they just withdrew. Another withdraw, the one that you guys had given me permission to hold a space for, the person who was number one on our list actually found an affordable unit. So with our programs, it helped, found an affordable unit.
That's
so
great.
That moved on. So there's 4 that we either helped in one way or another or moved on at their own volition of the 11. And so we have 2 waiting.
And if I may, one more thing we were talking about is we now have people in the second of 3 years in the program,
Yes,
which puts a little more of a different spin on what Alicia does for them, because she's now working with these people about what's their next step.
yes.
How do they get into paperwork getting done and other things for the next step in their housing journey?
Does Colleen still have a question?
Thank you.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of relates to, thinking about who's in the program now. And as we start to think about the next round of funding, I guess the numbers in terms of rents and incomes were staggering to me, the level of high need. And I'm wondering if, 10 is still the right number, or based on how this year's round went, should we even be thinking about more rental assistance spots, given that if all 10 of these stay on the program, moving forward?
Well, the two people that are waiting, their income is substantially is higher than that 44. So they're, and probably, I mean, if I had a bunch of people waiting in the 20s, $20,000 range, then I'd be saying absolutely. And I think that we definitely have to respond to this and think about this before the fall town meeting when we go to get the money. But what, and thank you for your direction on, this is actually giving me some direction. I need to see what kind of phone calls I'm getting, and if there's people because after last year, I had probably 3 applications. Actually, that's not, okay. So I forgot about this. I had one gentleman who had given me an application last year after the fact, but he couldn't get an adult child's finances in that was living with him. And he just came in last week with all the financials. Once again, language is a real barrier here, and he didn't understand the cutoffs and things like that. So we actually have 3 people in waiting, and this is a very needy person too. So, and what will happen over the next couple months is we'll see how many of those we get. Because I tell them, fill out an application for me, I'll put you on the waiting list. And it's just a holding space application. I don't make them give me all their financial backings. I just have them write down how much they make.
Mhm.
And so that's just a guesstimate. I haven't verified it. But when we sit down to talk about the CPC money, we should go visit this again. How many people are on the waiting list? And we could even increase it by 2 or 3. We don't have to do it by another 5.
Thank you. Good question, Colleen.
Mhm.
Does that wrap up your update? Thank you.
Yes.
Pauline, we're at public comments. How can we help you tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We all got our town reports Monday. I didn't get mine early, and I was flipping through them today, knowing you all had a meeting, and I read the report of the Affordable Housing Trust, which gave me pause because I went back to the bylaws, or what are they called? The trust documents. I don't know if they're an actual bylaw, because I didn't see anything in the annual report regarding financial matters, which are laid out in section 13 and section 16. That the trust shall list all financial transactions conducted by the trust, including all revenues and costs, provide a balance sheet of liabilities and assets of the trust, list an inventory of all affordable housing units created, I know that answer, sold and or managed by the trust, and any other pertinent information is supposed to be included in the annual report. In addition, section 13 calls or provides that the trust shall conduct an annual audit by an independent auditor, the cost of which is borne by the trust. And in addition, the trust will be audited with the usual annual town audit. So I guess it's really not a question as much as just a suggestion. I don't know if you could update your report in the annual report, but perhaps you could provide an update on your town webpage for those who are interested. So those documents and that information can at least be accessible to people who are interested. Because one of the major responsibilities of the trust is to raise money, not just from community preservation, but from any sources. So I guess that's more of a suggestion than a question, since I don't think any of that was done.
No, thank you. I don't think it was done. And I'm going to say it's probably not a bad, quick conversation with Barbara Tierney. Alicia, don't you think?
Yes.
Finance manager to find out.
Well, I think
we can get
that
an answer.
I just hadn't done, sorry, Pauline, we just missed that part of it. The rental assistance is the only thing that we have money from, and that's CPC, and it's running through a town account that I've set up. It's for the trust, and it's a trust account that I've set up, but the town, it's managed by the town accountant and town financial manager, as well as myself. So I balance it every month. And we do get it audited every year. I had forgotten that we were talking about an outside audit. I think an outside audit would be rather redundant because it is just CPC money at this point in time. So we need to talk about if we have to do an outside audit. I'd hate to spend the money on it. It would take about 5 minutes.
Rightfully so. As Pauline read the trust documents, I started hearing things about ownership of land and transactions based on ownership. We're not there yet, but again, Pauline, I think it's and I think it's probably honestly a quick conversation with Barbara and the finance manager, because I'm sure she can give us a ledger and she can give us a breakdown for FY 22.
I have a ledger on it.
There you go. Yeah.
So if I may just conclude, I appreciate all you've done. I have followed you. I understand that there's very limited funding as the present. You've only been in existence 3 years and operational for 2. But the easiest way to get things done in 5 years is to start early. And if at least you do the framework for the annual report and then conduct the audit, even if it costs something, I'm sure we can find an independent auditor to donate his or her time, given it's a 5-minute job. And I would encourage you to do that so you have the separation that is required in your trust documents. Otherwise, I hate to say it, you might be invalidating the documents and you'll never get donations. So it's just a suggestion, not really even a question. I hope you will consider at least following the documents that you created and were voted by town meeting. Thank you, Alicia. And no criticism
No, I
intended.
understand. I'll talk to Barbara and Jeff and I can talk to Barbara about this.
That's all I'm asking. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Any other response from anybody on the trust about that? Suggestions about how we go forward with it? Or should we just talk to the town finance manager and get her input at this point?
Let Alicia talk to whoever she believes will help us. And I think, like Pauline said, we do need, if we have procedures in place, we do need to follow them, even though we know there's no misuse of funds. We understand that completely. But if we have procedures in place, I kind of like to see us follow that, even though it's going to cost us some money that we shouldn't have to spend. But if we put those procedures in place, we need to just try to follow it as much as we can.
And one of the conversations we had a few meetings ago was, what are the funds we might need? Well, we may need an expense account to handle an audit.
Yes.
And as we go for more funding in the fall, it would be a shame to reduce the help funding because we have an audit cost that we should take care of. So absolutely. I think it's just, hello.
Hi, it's Pat. Sorry. I agree wholeheartedly with James. I think we need to follow what we've put in place because I don't think there's any less than 10 or 12 townspeople watching what we're doing. And so I think it would benefit us to make sure we follow everything that we've already said we're going to.
And even though if this take money from a person that's put in the program, we got to keep in mind, we cannot accommodate every needy person in this area. The town will not stand for that. We know, we just can't do it. We can only do so much. We got to keep that in mind, what we're doing when we request money. We want to be understanding, because we all know there's so much need and we can't do it all. We have to come up with a number like we're doing and try to fit that number and do the best we can, following all our procedures.
Exactly.
Great. So I got it to do, Alicia. Let me know if you need me to help.
Thank you.
Thank you. New business. In the email that Alicia sent out, information about the Housing Institute. Don't know if you saw the information about it. It's a hybrid meeting. It's a conference being held Wednesday, June 14th, virtual, and Thursday, June 15th, in person at the Spring Hill Suites in Devon's Commons. So it's not that far away. Alicia, want to talk about what they're going to cover?
So this is something that most of the
You froze. We're not having a good night technology-wise, guys.
I've been to it several times. And what I would
Agree with
say
that.
is Alan's and my office will pay for anybody's fees to go if you decide to go. And you can decide to just go to one or two courses. I don't remember if it's $25 or $40 a person, but you should, when you click in, it might very well say that you're allowed to send in a check. If you click that, take a picture of your registration, send it to me, and then I'll send in a check to cover your costs, your registration. Now, if you can't do it, I totally understand. But if you do it, or if you can do just a couple of the courses, you can be there for a half a day, or you can be there for one of the Zooms or something like that. Don't hesitate. We don't mind spending the money for board members to go. So, just take a look go online, see if there's anything that interests you. It was how the whole housing committee started out the first year, and they really learned a lot. I think Ron went to it with me at one point, and there was some very interesting, it was about building affordable housing and going with 40Bs housing, fair housing for all of a sudden I'm blanking, I'm sorry. For EJ communities, all that sort of stuff. And there's a lot of information and they get very good experts. And of all the different ones I've done, this is a very good one. So take a look at what's there, look at your own schedule, see if you can book one or two of the classes in there, or all of them, whatever appeals to you. But don't not do it because of the cost. We will cover it. And if you pay for it, send me your registration and I'll reimburse you. But there's usually a place where it says, I'll send a check. And then you send me your registration and I'll reimburse the registration. I'll send them a check.
Alicia, do you know, is there a registration deadline? Or can you make a last minute decision?
Well, we're quite a ways. The deadline might happen, but it's not going to happen till way through May, because this is in mid-June. So
okay.
I don't know on this one. They've changed it so much from the back in the old days when it was 2.5 days in person. And it was always easy because it was in Devon. So, why not go? weren't driving halfway across the state. I don't have my flyer up. I didn't bring it in person at home, and I've got to go back to my emails and take a look. Jeff, what does it say there? Does it show a deadline?
Actually, what's interesting is the click-through takes me to last year's.
Oh dear. Okay.
I'm going to
let
imagine
me-
it's very similar, but it covers all kinds of things through the Mass Housing Project Toolbox. So they don't have anything up for 2023 that I can find.
I
I'm
don't
not going to do an
deadline.
exhaustive search right now.
The flyer doesn't have any deadline on it. I just pulled it up and looked at it, the one that you sent, and it didn't have any deadline. I think we could probably make maybe not a last minute decision, but we can wait.
And to
Yeah.
tell you the truth, I didn't click on it. I didn't go through. I got to go register. So let me get registered, find out what the difficulties are, and I'll send you all an email about what happened and how to do it. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for on, and I'm going to let you guys know now, and I shouldn't do this in a public forum, but I will be traveling that week. So unfortunately, I got family stuff taking me down to Mid-Atlantic coast for the week. So next on our list, on our agenda is the upcoming meetings.
One more new business. Actually,
Oh, I'm
2 more new
sorry.
business.
Please.
There was also Mass Municipal Zoom meeting for open meetings that I sent you as well. This came from Robert, and he's encouraging anyone. It's about open meeting law.
Mhm.
And if anybody can do that as well, I will be doing that. But anybody who wants to do that, to just get an update, that is open, it's free. And so I can send it out again if people didn't see it.
Didn't see it.
Okay, so it didn't come through. Okay, so I'll
Actually,
send,
Alicia, I just looked at it because I had the email open,
yep,
but I think it was yesterday.
really?
If I'm looking at the right thing, it says April 25th.
My
MMA.
understand, yeah. No, I think you're actually correct, Colleen, because I was not looking at it yesterday, but I was in touch with another chairman, Chairman Cranston, the planning board. And he said, "Oh, I'm doing the KP law thing right now about open meeting."
Well,
So
so
I think it
clearly I
was-
missed it,
I think it was live, but I have an assumption,
that there's
I'm
a
not going to assume stuff,
PowerPoint.
that will have been recorded, and we'll probably be able to see it coming up soon.
Sorry,
Um,
missed it in that email. It was down further and I just didn't see it. I apologize.
No, I
Yeah.
missed it too. I just looked
Well,
now.
it's a challenging thing. I think it was like at 1:00 yesterday afternoon.
Huh.
Something like that, which is a challenging time for
Yes.
many people.
Yes.
But thank you. Anything else I'm going to cut you off with, Alicia?
So there's something new that just came out that I do want this committee, because we talked about the possibility of buying a parcel of land. Now, I don't know that this would be a parcel of land that we'd want to buy, but I am going to bring it up. Santander Bank is closing, and they're closing the Ayer branch.
Mhm.
We're assuming that property is going to come. That's the old diner property,
Right.
but it's a really key property for downtown.
Yeah,
I don't think we can put it. Sorry, Cindy?
it's a commercial property, so the price on it is gonna be, I don't think it would necessarily be something that we could.
I don't necessarily, I'm not necessarily suggesting, but it will end up being probably, that's downtown, form-based code, 4 stories there, commercial on the first floor, residential on the other floors. It will have, if it goes, it will have affordable units in it and things like that. It's something that we should keep, aware of and work
Mhm.
to see if there's developers. And it was funny because Phil Giffey sent the listing not the listing, but the notice to me about it. And he said, wow, this is a great property. And yes, so there will be developers coming through, because there will be residential upstairs, and that'll trigger our inclusionary zoning.
Okay, can I ask, it's Pat, can I ask a question? How does that work with the parking? So the parking rule with, is it 1.5 per unit or something? How
I
will
think-
that properly work with that?
They're expecting to go down to 1 parking space per unit in that area. And they're still working on the parking. That's something we need to
So-
talk to Alan about.
You can talk to Alan, to Pat, and if I may, the piece of property next to Santander is known as 35 Park Street, came before the planning board as a 17-unit apartment building, and they produced what's called a parking plan. And the plan was approved without any on-site parking at all. That is permission. That is a permissible. It was done at the request of the person submitting the plan, and a permissible and acceptable method for solving the problem was offered. And they entered into a legal agreement with another person, with another entity in town that would be able to offer parking should it be necessary.
But was that just, excuse me, was that just for that particular transaction, or was that for anyone who purchased that property? And I'm asking because I don't know. I know there was a transaction between 2 parties.
Yep.
And there was an agreement on parking, but I didn't know whether it transferred to the next purchaser.
I don't know the status of that. I don't know who is the owner of the property. I don't know if it was the original people who came forward with the request for the use of the property. And I'm not even sure that their approval through the planning board hasn't timed out, to be honest with you, because I think it was a couple of 3 years ago. But I think,
yeah.
Pat, the reason I'm telling you this is they found a solution around parking.
Understand. I just didn't know if it was still available. That's what I guess I'm asking. I didn't know if that solution was still available
Jeff,
because things changed
Yeah.
there. Anyhow,
Yes, Cindy.
okay, so
was the parking allowed to slide because of the proximity of the parking garage? Is that why they?
There are many opportunities for other parking solutions, and the building was, if you happen to watch the West Main Street ZBA meeting, the developers are now doing mathematical statistical analysis on how much parking they need for buildings, because they recognize parking's an expensive part of the project. And with the MBTA zoning that's going downtown, what we're seeing is parking is a lack of parking is not a deal breaker. If I say it like that, less parking is not a deal breaker is what we're seeing, Cindy. It's just,
Interesting.
it's all unique to the actual product they're trying to build and offer. And it's the person who owns the properties. If they want to bet that they don't need parking spaces, the planning board can't say you've got to do this if you don't want to do it. If they have a plan, if they have a reasonable plan.
Okay, it's not really our issue, but I just was curious. Sorry.
I'm happy to, you know,
It took us down the road.
I know stuff.
Let's
Call
go.
me later. Call me later.
Oh.
Yep.
I have very few minutes left, so let's do the upcoming meetings.
Yeah, next meeting, guys. Does the week of May, either May 24th and May 31st work, Wednesday night?
Try the 20.
just okay with that.
Either one.
I am not sure I'm going to be able to do either. I'm going to a conference the week of the 24th. I'll be driving back on the 24th. So depending on what time it ends, I don't have the schedule. I may be back in time, but the 31st is local, but it's a long day. So we'll see. Pick what day works for everybody, and I'll keep you posted.
James, you started to say?
Now I'm gonna say 24th will work, or the 31st, but 31st is so close to the holiday, so the 24th may be best. I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly prefer the 24th if we could do it that day. So why don't we'll try to get the 24th and see how it happens. We've got to get on the calendar, and the town's got to let us know it's available. So
Mhm.
we'll follow up on that in the next day or two and find out. Okay.
Great.
I want to say thank you to all. And we probably need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion that we'll join the meeting.
Second.
They always second that one. Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks.
Good to see you.